I will say it's very easy to speak truth from this podium when you have a president who is implementing policies that are wildly popular with the American people, and that's exactly what this administration is doing. It's correcting the lies and the wrongs of the past 4 years, many of the lies that have been told to your faces in this very briefing room. I will not do that.
Behar just crossed the line, and this time there's no coming back. During a recent episode of The View, Joy Behar stunned audiences with a comment that many are calling blatantly sexist and completely out of touch with the values she claims to stand for.
No more funding for illegal DEI programs. It means no more funding for transgenderism and wokeness.
And that was, she said, there will be no wokeness here.
Oh, yeah.
Let me explain something to you, because without that wokeness, you might not.
Today was the first press conference for Donald Trump's press secretary, Karoline Leavitt. And if you assume she was a pretty white lady with a noticeable cross necklace, you were right. And of course she was Trump's press secretary during the campaign, but that was all about trashing Joe Biden. Now she's in an elevated position representing the White House. And she's here to talk about what the administration is going to do moving forward.
When Joe Biden was in the Oval Office, or upstairs in the residence sleeping, I'm not so sure.
Oh, shit!
Referring to Karoline Leavitt, Donald Trump's 27-year-old press secretary, Behar claimed she was only hired because of her appearance. "I think she's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10, Behar said.
I'm so sick and tired of the media pointing the finger at Donald Trump and saying that he is sowing division in this country. He is not. The media is for pushing hoaxes like the one that you all pushed today, and the Democrat Party is for pushing lies about him. But the good news is Americans don't buy it.
Of the 3,500 arrests ICE has made so far since President Trump came back into office, can you just tell us the numbers? How many have a criminal record versus those who are just in the country illegally?
All of them, because they illegally broke our nation's laws, and therefore they are criminals as far as this administration goes. I know the last administration didn't see it that way, so it's a big culture shift in our nation to view someone who breaks our immigration laws as a criminal, but that's exactly what they are.
The remark immediately sparked outrage, not just from conservatives but from people across the political spectrum who saw the comment as hypocritical and degrading. Why? Because it came from someone who frequently speaks about feminism and the importance of empowering women in leadership. Behar's statement wasn't just an insult to Leavitt. It was an insult to every woman who has worked hard to earn her position in politics, business, or any other industry.
Echoed the sentiment that President Trump is a democracy. And if you're a deranged lunatic and you're mentally ill, you will believe that lie, and yes, you will take political...
Critics were quick to call out the glaring double standard. How can someone who claims to champion women's rights reduce a highly qualified political strategist to nothing more than her appearance? Social media exploded with backlash, with one user summing it up perfectly. Joy Behar accuses Karoline Leavitt of being hired for her looks? Isn't that the exact kind of sexism The View claims to fight against?
Commentator said, Whoopi is mansplaining the press secretary job to Karoline Leavitt. Hilarious.
But Karoline Leavitt wasn't about to let this slide. She didn't just defend herself. She turned the tables on The View and exposed its hypocrisy for all to see. When Joy Behar made her remark, many expected Leavitt to either ignore it or respond with a measured statement. Instead, she delivered a sharp, factual takedown that left no room for doubt.
He sat through a courthouse for 7 weeks this past year, and the Democrats were hoping he would go to jail for it. That is real political that has led to 2 heinous attempts on President Trump's life that, by the grace of God, he was able to escape, and he is here with us today. So yes, President Trump knows a little bit about political because he's experienced it himself.
And that was, she said, there will be no wokeness here.
Oh, yeah.
Let me explain something to you, because without that wokeness, you might not have that job.
Yeah.
Because women were not invited to that table. Mm-hmm. Women were not invited to many tables in this nation. The reason we fought and busted our behinds to make sure that you didn't have to worry about this. And now to hear you talk about it and to hear anybody talk about the wokeness was put in place for a reason, because black people couldn't get into college.
With poise, confidence, and an undeniable command of the facts, Leavitt didn't just address the insult. She dismantled it entirely. In doing so, she sent a clear message. Women in politics, regardless of ideology, should not be reduced to their looks. The View can't claim to support women while tearing them down in the same breath. Let's talk about how Democrats have spent years labeling President Trump a threat to democracy. Leavitt didn't just defend Trump. She shifted the focus to a bigger issue. She highlighted how media rhetoric has fueled hostility toward conservatives, even contributing to 2 attempts on Trump's life. Her response wasn't just about setting the record straight. It was a direct challenge to the View's narrative. She exposed how the show relies on personal attacks to discredit opponents rather than addressing real issues. By the time she finished speaking, the energy in the room had completely shifted. Behar looked uncomfortable and even Whoopi Goldberg seemed at a loss. But things were about to get even more heated. When Whoopi tried to intervene, Goldberg attempted to change the subject, but the move backfired. As Leavitt continued discussing media-driven falsehoods, Whoopi jumped in, steering the discussion elsewhere to regain control. But Leavitt wasn't having it. No, please, she interrupted firmly. Let's stay on topic. She pressed forward, emphasizing how the constant claims about Trump have emboldened extremists and led to real-world consequences. In that moment it became clear. This wasn't just a debate. This was about exposing how media figures manipulate discussions to fit their own agendas. Leavitt's refusal to let Whoopi change the subject was both refreshing and effective. She didn't back down or allow distractions to derail the conversation. Instead, Goldberg's attempt to silence her only reinforced Leavitt's argument. Viewers took notice and social media erupted with praise, calling it one of the strongest moments in recent political debates. But Leavitt wasn't finished exposing the View's hypocrisy. She didn't just defend herself, she exposed the show's double standards on women's empowerment. One of the most striking moments came when she pointed out how the View claims to champion feminism, until a conservative woman steps into the spotlight. They love to talk about empowering women, she said. But the moment a woman disagrees with their politics, they tear her down in the same way they claim to oppose. This wasn't just a passing remark. It was a direct hit on the View's long history of dismissing conservative women like Kayleigh McEnany and Sarah Huckabee Sanders. By calling out this double standard, Leavitt forced people to question whether the View truly supports women, or just those who align with their politics. And then came Whoopi Goldberg's rant about wokeness. She didn't just lose her temper, she lost control of the entire discussion. At one point, Whoopi Goldberg brought up a past comment from Karoline Leavitt. "There will be no wokeness here." Clearly rattled, Goldberg launched into a passionate rant about how wokeness drives societal progress. However, she failed to acknowledge how wokeness has also become a divisive ideology, alienating rather than uniting people. Instead of engaging in a real discussion about what wokeness means today, Goldberg resorted to condescension, speaking to Leavitt as if she didn't understand history or social progress. The irony? By doing so, Goldberg demonstrated exactly why so many criticize wokeness. It often feels elitist and dismissive. But this wasn't just about one heated moment. The backlash against the View was growing. This time the show didn't just face criticism, they faced widespread humiliation. Rather than discrediting Karoline Leavitt, they discredited themselves. Clips of Joy Behar's remark and Leavitt's strong response spread across social media almost instantly. Viewers from both sides of the aisle called out the View's hypocrisy. Even those who disagreed with Leavitt politically admitted Behar's comment was inappropriate, and that Leavitt handled the situation with composure. The backlash extended beyond social media, making its way into mainstream news coverage. Several outlets ran headlines about the View's latest controversy and its growing credibility issues. Behind the scenes at ABC, things were reportedly even messier. Insiders revealed that network executives were caught off guard by the backlash and are growing frustrated with Joy Behar's repeated controversies. Some sources suggest Behar could be on thin ice. While controversy has always been part of the View's brand, there's a difference between sparking debate and driving viewers away. This time they may have gone too far. But this situation highlights a bigger issue in today's media landscape. This isn't just about one episode. It's about shifting perceptions and a growing demand for accountability. What made this incident stand out was the overwhelming support Karoline Leavitt received, even from those who don't share her political views. Social media was flooded with comments from people who disagreed with her but respected how she handled herself during the heated exchange. Many pointed out that Joy Behar's remarks weren't just offensive to Leavitt, they were offensive to all women who have worked hard to achieve success. This bipartisan outrage highlighted growing frustration with media outlets like The View, which claim to champion women's empowerment but often fail to extend that support to conservative women. Even some liberal commentators called out Behar, with one writing, "You don't have to agree with Karoline Leavitt to see that reducing her accomplishments to her looks is disgusting." But this wasn't just a win for Leavitt. It was a wake-up call for viewers frustrated with media double standards. As public support for Leavitt grew, ABC executives were reportedly scrambling behind the scenes. According to insiders, the backlash caught them completely off guard, and they are growing increasingly frustrated with Behar's repeated controversies. One source revealed that executives are beginning to question whether keeping Behar on the show is worth the ongoing PR headaches. While controversy has always been part of The View's brand, there's a difference between sparking debate and alienating viewers, and this time they may have crossed the line. Ratings have already been slipping, and incidents like this only add to the decline. Advertisers are reportedly growing uneasy, questioning whether The View is still a reliable platform for their brands. An insider revealed that executives are tired of cleaning up controversies and are considering whether a major shakeup is needed. Could this mean Joy Behar's time on The View is running out? But this isn't just about one host, it's a larger issue. The controversy reflects a recurring pattern in how conservative women are treated in mainstream media. From Kayleigh McEnany to Sarah Huckabee Sanders, we've seen conservative women dismissed, insulted, or discredited simply because of their beliefs. While shows like The View claim to support women's empowerment, they seem unwilling to extend that support to women who don't share their ideology. Instead of debating their viewpoints, they resort to personal attacks and dismissive remarks.